Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jacqueline, and I'm from the blog, thedoggyperspective.com. So, this week is National Justice for Animals Week, and today I'm asking the question, why would it be important to report animal abuse? Well, there are a few good reasons to report, to file a report if you see something related to animal abuse. So, number one, very serious animal neglect is oftentimes a clear indicator of people who are in need of social or mental health services. So, I tell you, you have to say something. Why? Because experts have already uncovered the pattern. Number two, intentional cruelty to animals has been linked with other crimes. Okay? Other crimes including violence against people, right? So you have to say something. Why? Because experts have already uncovered the pattern, right? Prove it. Okay. Authorities have been surveying people for years, and the survey suggests that those who intentionally abuse animals are predominantly men under 30, while those involved in animal hoarding are more likely to be women over 60. And you know what hoarding is, right? It means keeping way more animals than you can possibly care for. Lots of times, the animals are dead and kept too. Mhm. So, number three, now, just looking back, just looking back on what it is that I've just told you. If you just look back on what it is that I've just told you, there is a direct correlation between animal abuse and violent crimes against people. So, guess what it is? It's domestic abuse. Domestic violence and child abuse cases do typically reveal that a staggering number of animals are targeted by those who abuse their children and their spouse. So, did you get it? Get it? Okay, now. A good number of you were here last week or so to help us celebrate Have a Heart for Chained Dogs Week. And that week, we chatted all week about what is and isn't proper chaining and tethering of a dog, and how bad conditions may become for the dog if the dog is tethered, the nature of the injuries the dog may sustain, etc., etc. Well, we went on in this manner all week pretty much, culminating in what to do exactly if you see a dog chained and tethered and the dog needs your help, what to do and say with regard to the owner. Okay, so it is important, and it ties right in to today's discussion. This National Justice for Animals Week is all of our opportunity to go tell it, tell it, tell it. Okay? Now, please understand that when you do, go tell, big stuff is happening. Attorneys are out there getting things into their proper order. Have you ever heard of the ALDF, the American Legal Defense Fund, or how the ALDF helps animal abuse victims? Animal Legal Defense Fund works within the legal system to protect animals' lives and interests. It does this with whatever actions are necessary in different cases, and I will give you an example. Filing lawsuits, providing prosecutors with legal assistance to hold animal abusers accountable for their actions, fighting against legislation that may be harmful to animals. Sophia's down there. Uh, Fighting against legislation that may be harmful to animals, fighting for laws that strengthen animal protection, offering outreach programs to educate the public. Okay, so please say something. All right, so changing gears a little bit. Well, wait a minute, because we are just speaking about animals. Animals. So let me ask you this: who who is the most common victim of abuse? The most common victims, animals whose abuse is reported most often, are dogs, cats, horses, and livestock. Wait a minute, poor Fluffy. You didn't even suspect the rest. And this is the reason that you have to say something. Why? Because the experts have already uncovered the pattern. They know what to do. They just don't know about you or him or her or them. Those guys, those people, they. Remember your mother used to say, who is they? They just don't know, right? So this is why you have to say something, right? So again, think about that. The experts have already uncovered the pattern. It has become very important for you to say something and to get involved. The attorneys are there. Funds are being raised. Funds have been raised. Funds continue to be raised. You can raise funds. You can give. You can participate. You can become a part of this effort, right? You can continue to tie into what has become important in this community. And if you're not worried about your neighbor, right? If you're not going to care about your fellow man, you can care about Fluffy out there, right? Because by the time you see that animal, you know now there's a correlation to what's going on inside of the house. So as I mentioned, there is, if you look back on what I just said, there's a direct correlation between animal abuse and violent crimes against people. And again, that connection is domestic abuse, domestic violence, and child abuse cases. I'm going to say this again. Do typically reveal a staggering number of animals are targeted by those who abuse their children and their spouses. So you have to tell it. And here's why. You're not thinking about why that dog might be out there. If you were beating up your spouse and beating up your kids, why would it benefit you to put the dog outside on the chain? Let's think. It might rise up and really bite. I mean, it might really get you, depending upon the breed of the animal. Should you rise up and strike the hand that feeds it? Now, who am I talking about? I don't know if the wife is beating the husband or if the husband is beating the wife. But what do the kids do all the time? They just hand it over. They're just so pure and innocent and open, and they just hand it over. And the dogs, they dote on the kids, they do, right? So the dogs. They understand loyalty and they understand protectiveness. They do. They understand that, right? And they don't want to hear the kids crying and screaming, and they don't want to hear the kids begging for mercy. So they understand that. It understands attack and aggression. So therein lies the problem, depending on the breed of the dog. So remember, tying the dog to the stake out there and tethering it is simply one more piece of the puzzle. Okay. Anyway, that is that. Now, in every video, I discuss food and nutrition. You know this. This one is very simple. I am just going to ask you to click the link in the description box below to order your custom meal plan for your unique dog. That's right. This is custom made kibble just for your dog. The meal plan will cost you nothing. The food will be 20% off of the first order and 10% off of the recurring purchases. So please go ahead and get that. It's designed specifically for your dog. I'm Jacqueline from the blog, thedoggyperspective.com, asking you to say something if you see something. I will see you in the next video.